to the Art of Adventure. This is 5 Minute Friday, and this is the story about how I came face to face with a mountain lion. It was sunset, and I was running on the trails of the Santa Rosa plateau, which is in Southern California. We were staying there for a couple of months with my wife's family, and every day I would go up to this nature preserve called the Santa Rosa Plateau, and there's amazing trails. It's kind of like a African savanna with little rocky outcrops and grassland and these little groves of trees. Just a really wonderful place to spend some time running every evening. And I was running with podcasts playing, and the podcast said something like, "You need to be more present." And I realized that I was focusing on the podcast and not actual running, kind of ironically. So I turned the podcast off. I put everything away, and it was just me running, and the sound of the crunchy gravel of the trails underneath my feet was very meditative. And I ran for about an hour and a half, and I got really deep into the zone, and it was just like flowing and moving through the landscape. This was the kind of rolling hills where you don't get quite tired from running uphill, and you get fast by running down the hill. And it just was really amazing in the zone type of running. And there was deer running across my path and falcons swooping nearby, and it was sunset and a slight breeze. The day is cooling off, just so perfect. And the coyotes started howling in the distance, and it was kind of eerie. They're calling back and forth, and it sounded like there was a lot of them. And as I was running back towards my car on the final stretch of the trail, the last couple miles, I saw an animal in the trail ahead of me, just a couple hills away. And I said, "Well, that's interesting. Must be a coyote." And it walked off the trail, and then I ran over those two hills, and I got to the spot where the animal had been standing, and I looked to my left, and the animal was still there, just a few feet off of the trail. There's a rocky little outcrop, and this animal was sort of crouching down, laying down in this rocky outcrop. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting, that the animal would let me get so close to it. I've never really seen a coyote that doesn't run away. And then I realized that it wasn't a coyote. Its little ear was flicking back and forth, and I blinked, and I said, "Oh, that is a mountain lion." And all of a sudden, time slowed way down, and I was looking eye to eye with this mountain lion just 20 feet away from me. And it was not moving, and it was just staring right at me, and I was staring right at it. And, I got the tingles on the back of my neck, but I didn't panic. I felt, because I had been running and that meditative run that got me in the zone, I felt connected to the mountain lion. I felt like we were just observing each other. And I was a big mammal, and the mountain lion was a big mammal, and we just were seeing each other, and we weren't threatening each other. I think if I had, just finished my workday and come out on this trail, this lion might have attacked me. Because I was not one with nature, I could have gotten eaten, or the lion maybe would have just run away and avoided me. But in this case, I got so close to the mountain lion, and I'm sure that it was just a few seconds, but it felt like forever. And I was staring at it, and it was staring at me. And I slowly backed away, keeping eye contact. And there was a bend in the trail coming up. So I got to the bend, and as soon as I got around the bend, I took off running. I was running so fast. I was like, "Ah, that was a mountain lion." I was just screaming. I was like, "Oh my God." And I just ran as fast as I could back to the car. And I kept looking over my shoulder. I was like, "Please do not be chasing me. Please do not be chasing me." Because I know that mountain lions really do eat people. And so I got home, and I told everyone, I was like, "Oh my God, you wouldn't believe it." And it was one of those things that I wished somehow it was captured. I wish somehow I could have seen my own face or seen the situation from above or something like that. But it was so unreal. And so the next day I went and I talked to the ranger who worked at the Santa Rosa plateau. And I said, oh my God, I saw this mountain lion right here on this trail. And he said, well, that's really interesting because we just had a photo trap triggered by a mountain lion yesterday. And the mountain lion was pregnant. And I was like, oh, it makes so much sense. She didn't want to eat me because she couldn't be bothered to get up because she was pregnant and she just wanted to sit there and be left alone. And thank goodness I didn't want anything to do with her. And so we were able to just pass by each other and acknowledge each other. And that was all it needed to be. And I hope I never encounter another mountain lion because I don't know what I would have done to defend myself. For me, it was a really big reminder that even though we've been able to control the natural world to a large extent, we're farmers, we can keep wild things away, we can keep from getting eaten, we put them in zoos, etc., that we have also forgotten the real wildness of nature. And this was one of those moments when it's like, wow, you could be eaten and your life is a finite thing. You're part of ecology, you're part of the natural world. You are going to die at some point. It doesn't have to be today in the mouth of a mountain lion, but as a biological entity, you have this limited span and you are part of the whole. You're not separate. And I also think about at times when I'm feeling agitated or aggravated, what it felt like to arrive in that moment with the mountain lion in such a calm place that I had been moving my body rhythmically for the last hour, running on these trails and being outside, and how clean and natural that felt. And I use that as a trigger to whenever I need to pull myself back into a state of alignment, into a state of calmness. I remember what it felt like to be in the zone and unworried and unhurried and at one with nature, which was at one with myself. And that is the story of how I survived an encounter with a mountain lion. Hope you enjoyed that adventure tale. Now it's your turn to go out there and do not get eaten. Have an adventure and stay alive.